Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel, and in today's video we are going to look at this paper. This was test 2 paper that was written in 2022 at Levi Mwanawasa Medical University. So this is biochemistry. But before we go further, you guys don't forget to show support. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, make sure you like, and make sure you share this video. I would really appreciate that. Without wasting time, let us get started. So here we have our first question. And what is our first question saying? Enzymes for oxidative phosphorylation in eukaryotes are found in. That is the first question. So where do we find enzymes for oxidative phosphorylation? And by the way, what is oxidative phosphorylation? So oxidative phosphorylation, we know that is the same as what? That is the same as the electron transport chain. So simply talking about electron transport chain. So where do we find enzymes for electron transport chain? We know that these enzymes, they are found in the inner mitochondrial membrane. So the mitochondria, that is the site for electron transport chain. And the mitochondria has got double layered membrane. So it has got the inner membrane and the outer membrane. So we are going to find the enzymes, it's in the inner mitochondrial membrane. That is our first question. Now we go to the second question. The respiratory electron transport chain is where NADH and FADH2 are. So we know that NADH and FADH2, these are electron carriers. So they carry electrons to where? To electron transport chain. So they are getting electrons from TCA cycle and glycolysis, taking them to electron transport chain, where they give those electrons. And by the way, we need to understand what's the difference between oxidation and reduction. So you can use this simple mnemonic. So oxidation is loss. Reduction is gain. Oil rig. That's a very good mnemonic that will help you to remember oxidation and reduction. So oxidation is simply the loss of electrons, while reduction is simply the gain of electrons. So what happens that NADH and FADH2, they are going to lose electrons. So NADH is going to give electrons to complex 1. FADH2 is going to give electrons to complex 2. So they are going to lose electrons. What do we call losing electrons? That is oxidation. So we can say that these are going to be oxidized. And the released electrons pass through enzyme complexes. So we know our answer there. Our answer is A. Question 3. The protein concentration gradients generated by flow of electrons in the electron transport chain. It represents, because we know that when the complexes become supercharged, they start transporting protons or hydrogen ions from the mitochondrial space or inside the mitochondria to the intermembrane space, to the space that is found between the inner mitochondrial membrane and the outer mitochondrial membrane. Imagine we have got, that's our outer mitochondrial membrane, and that's our inner mitochondrial membrane. Then here, this is inside the mitochondria. So these complexes, okay, that are found in the inner mitochondrial membrane, they'll start transporting protons or hydrogen ions into that space. Okay, so they're transporting protons there from inside the mitochondria. Now, when we build up high concentration of protons there in the intermembrane space, these, they will finally come down. They are going to come down and back in the mitochondria, inside the mitochondria. And through that, they're going to generate energy. So in other words, these protons that we are pumping, they keep energy. They store energy. So let's just go back to the question. The proton concentration gradient generated by flow of electrons in an electron transport chain represent stored energy. That is the answer. Question 4. When hydrogen ions or protons are moved back across the inner mitochondrial membrane through pores associated with ATP synthase, what happens? So imagine this is our ATP synthase. So what happens that when these protons are coming back, when they are coming back through the ATP synthase, they are going to help the conversion of ADP to ATP. In other words, they activate that enzyme. So the movement of these protons from the intermembrane space here back into the mitochondria activates the ATP synthase, and then this ATP synthase will catalyze the conversion of ADP to ATP. In other words, the phosphorylation of ADP to ATP. Because when you say phosphorylation, we're simply talking about the addition of a phosphate group to ADP. So we've got ADP, we are going to add a phosphate group so it becomes ATP. In other words, we can say ADP is going to be phosphorylated to form ATP. That's what happens when this enzyme is activated. So we are converting that energy, the stored energy in those protons, we are converting that energy to ATP. That's what's happening. So our answer is ADP is phosphorylated to form ATP. Can we see that? Yes, we can. So our answer is B.